50%. Do you guys know what 50% is? 50% is 1 out of 2. And 50% is exactly how many of you will have dementia or Alzheimer's after they reach 65 years old. So that means that if it's not you, it's your partner. If it's not your mom, it's your dad. So those are the real statistics. Then we go to 30%. 30% is the rate of obesity in Canada. That means that 1 person out of 3 is obese, not only overweight. Okay, because overweight oftentimes is only maybe 20, 30 pounds over your normal weight. And then we have 6 out of 10, 60%. 60% of people, basically the 3 leading causes of death in Canada, are either cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, or cancer. And those are all things that you don't feel coming, you don't see coming. And they're all lifestyle related. And I have been personally touched by almost all of them. So when I say that my mission is to change those statistics for the people I love and the people I serve, I really mean it. So now I want you to close your eyes and imagine yourself, you're 90 years old, you've built your empire, you have reached all the goals you wanted, you've made all your dreams come true, you're playing with your kids, your grandkids, you're passionate, you still have stamina, you have fun in life. Well, if you don't think it's possible, I think it's possible for you. And I think it's possible because that's the way we were designed. Okay, as a chiropractor, I always start from the viewpoint that your body is well and that it's able to heal itself and that there's innate intelligence and innate power in it. So if you allow your body to function the way it was supposed to, it can do just about anything, okay? And so that's why I adjust people. That's why we use chiropractic care. But that's also why I've been using fasting more and more, because it harnesses the same innate power that's in your body so that you can function properly, so that you can be a better person, that you can reach all the goals that you want in life. So that's what fasting can do, all right? And if you look at it, fasting has been around since the history of man, because fasting basically was called starvation. Okay, so man would go through periods of starvation and then he would go through periods of feeding, which is how the body was designed to actually be able to meet those periods of starvation by having reserves that we would make when there were periods of feeding. And if you look at all major religions, that's why they all have fasting as part of their rituals. Okay, even if you look at Catholics and Muslims and Buddhists and Hindus, they all have it because somehow they realize that, you know what, you're healthy when sometimes you just don't eat. And yes, it does allow you to reach, higher spiritual purposes and, it pushes your body to the limit. But at the same time, it's good for your body. Okay, so what makes it so good? Okay, because when you fast, let's just say from a business standpoint, okay, it just makes sense. It's like your business. Suddenly money stops coming in. What do? All right, so if there's no money coming in, first of all, you're going to go through your reserves, okay? So you're going to use it all up. Once that's done, you're going to go, okay, how can we make this more efficient? And so what you do, most likely, is that you'll end up identifying which staff are very high performers. You're going to ask them to do more, and they're going to be able to do more because they're just that great. And then all the people that you have been keeping, because, they're kind of average, but they kind of get the job done, but now you don't have money to pay them, you're going to let them go. This is exactly the processes that happen in your body when you're fasting, which means your body then reaches a state where normal cells can access ancient programs that are made to make them even perform even at a higher rate. And so any cell that is not able to perform higher, okay, to get into that state, suddenly will get just get out. This is how it works, okay? And so suddenly you're basically having this whole spring cleanup of your body that happens when you're fasting. So any not so good element will get thrown out the window and all the good elements are actually kept and reinforced, okay? And this is actually, you'll see later, why cancer cells are so susceptible, because they've lost that ability to adapt when there's a stressor like fasting that happens. So what are the benefits? So benefits, definitely weight loss is a big one, okay? You do lose weight when you fast, kind of makes sense, you're not eating. And especially you lose intra-abdominal fat more than subcutaneous fat, which is very important because that's the fat that's actually very dangerous for you, okay? And then you lose, it decreases, it basically slows down the aging process, which is great, it's great for your DNA, helps it to repair itself, and suddenly, your biological age, doesn't mean your chronological age, which is great, which means it increases your health span. Health span is basically how long you will live healthy in your life. So this is amazing. What we see happening is that we have an increase in adrenaline. Because it makes sense, you want to have the energy to go and find food. It increases testosterone, okay? It increases the growth hormone to spare your muscles. It increases insulin sensitivity so that you can use better the sugar that's in your blood. At the same time, what we see because of all of this happening, we have a decrease in diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer, neurodegenerative disease like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia. Okay, and all of this because basically we're decreasing inflammation and oxidative stress. So any inflammatory process will get decreased. So that means if you have joint pain and arthritis, fasting will really help in that realm, okay? And the big bonus and what is really important right now is that we see a rise in stem cells, okay? And again, it makes sense because if you're getting rid of all those bad cells, you want to replace them at a later date. And so you will need those amazing stem cells. And compared to having stem cells shot through you where we do have an increased risk of cancer and stuff like that, this process is happening naturally. So your body will naturally just make more stem cells so that you can regenerate your own organs and your own cells. So that is just absolutely fantastic what is happening when you're fasting. Okay, so now that you know how great it is, and now that you know how important it would be for your health, how does it work? All right, there are two types of fast. Basically, you can fast for a short time or a long time. Short-term fasting is anything under 3 days, and long-term fasting is anything above 3. Both have benefits. Some are easier than other. Okay, so if you want to start, you can start easy. You can start easy with a short-term fast. Short-term fast, typically, there's the intermittent diet, the time-restrained diet that are part of it. And so what you do is for a certain period, you just don't eat, or you eat reduced calories. So you want to eat under 500 kilocalories per day for men. Okay, so typically what this can look like is either the 2 meals a day, which is anyways what you should aim for, 2 meals a day and a snack. So if you want to start easy, you go, I'm not really sure about this thing, I don't know if I can handle it, then just try to reduce your meal plan to having 2 meals per day plus a snack. So typically what this would look like is that, you would have lunch, so a smaller lunch, and you would have dinner, and then you would go skip back breakfast and then go back to having lunch the next day. Ideally, you want to have like a bulletproof coffee in the morning would be great because that would count kind of as a snack, would give you those calories, would give you those amazing fats for your brain, and it would kickstart your day. And so this is really the model that you want to, start planning for your life. So this is one of the model. Intermittent fasting could also be done in the 5-2 model where basically you're fasting completely for 24 hours, 2 days out of the week that are non-consecutive, and then the rest of the time you're actually eating normal. So this can be done as well. So there are benefits to short-term fasting. First of all, it's a lot easier. You can integrate it into your normal lifestyle. We do see weight loss happening with that, not at the same rate. And we do see some of the benefits that I mentioned about fasting are still there, but they're just not as consistently there, okay? And then if you're like, oh no, man, I'm all in, I'm somebody, if I do anything, I'll do it all the way, fine. So you can start with full fast, okay? Long-term fast or anything above 3 days. They can last up to 21 days. I've seen people do it for 40 days and 50 days, okay? Not that it's recommended, especially if you're not supervised, but 3 to 5 days, you can usually handle it on your own unless you've got specific medical conditions happening, okay? So if you want to start all in, what you do is basically either a complete fast can be done either where you do a juice fast. So typically it'll be like a green juice that's made mostly of veggies. Again, you want to keep it under the 500 calories that I was mentioning earlier. Some people will do a bone broth fast. So they'll only have bone broth for a week. And then if you really want to go just traditional, you go for a typical water fast, okay? So you're not having anything but water for those 3 to 5 days or 7 days that you want to do. You can have normal water, hot water with some salt, especially to decrease some of the side effects, fizzy water. So after that, everything just tastes pretty amazing, okay? So this is what you can do. What to expect, especially when we do the long-term fast, is where we're getting the maximum benefits of fasting, okay? And why that is happening is because of the processes that occur when you start fasting. When you start fasting, day one, usually your blood glucose starts to go down. Your body will basically go through its own reserves. So it goes through the glucose that's in your blood. It will start to deplete the glycogen in your muscles and your liver, okay? So that happens in the first 12 to 16 hours, which is why when you do the intermittent fasting, it actually works, okay? After that is when you start to go into your fat storages. So you start to burn the fat for energy, okay? That's what we call a process of ketosis, where you're basically using the fats to become ketones as source of energy instead of using the sugars to become glucose as source of energy, okay? So this is all happening in the first 2 days. So the first 2 days, usually what to expect is, you will get hunger, okay? You will get hunger pangs, usually the worst the first 2 days, and then after that they subside, they go away, and you actually almost don't feel it. Some people will really be what we call hangry, where basically you're hungry and you're angry and you're irritable, okay, because your glucose is coming down, you're really becoming not so nice to be around. Some people will get wicked headaches, some people will get joint pain, okay. I typically don't tend to experience that, but I know some people do, so I always like to warn people about that happening. Then on day three, what's happening is that your brain, basically is getting used to using those fats that I was talking about, those ketones. And so there's more and more in your bloodstream. So suddenly things start to shift. It starts to get better. Some people will hit a wall at day 3 where that'll be their worst day. And some people actually start to feel pretty good at day 3 because suddenly their brain kickstarts. It always depends on how fast your body can switch the energy mode that it's using, okay? So that's what's happening. And then day 4 and 5 is where the magic happens, okay? Because day 4 and 5, your brain's used to using the ketones, your body's used to burning the fat now, and so now your body's thinking about, okay, how can I, because all the bad cells have been thrown away, the cleanup has been done, and now your body is starting to think about replacing all of those cells. And so that's when we start to see the rise in the stem cells. And because your brain loves to use the ketones, you're feeling amazing. You've got all those hormones it was talking about that are just really high. So you're on cloud 9. Okay, so what we see happening is usually most of the weight loss between 0 and 3 to 5 days is actually a lot of water. And then we see fat starting to be burnt off. So a lot of fat will start to be burnt off, and minimal muscle that'll actually be eaten up. Okay. But what we see is after 5 days, it's almost completely, there's no more muscle mass that is being depleted. It's only fat, and the water has already been lost. Okay. So this is what you can expect. And after that, you just feel great, okay? And if you don't, then the solution is really easy. Just start eating again. There's no gun to your head. And if you do like a fast where you're able to do the first 2 days, but it's just too horrible, you just can't keep it up, don't worry, okay? Every fast builds upon the last one, because that's why we want to do cycles of fasting. And so if every fast builds upon the last one, if you did 2 days last time, well, next time it'll just be easier, okay? Is it for everyone? Definitely not, okay? Because unless, if you're healthy, of normal weight, ideally you want to shoot to do about 2 to 3 fasts a year. So every 4 to 6 months, you do a fast of 5 days, okay? Just for general cleanup and general maintenance and for your brain to actually be better. That's if you're, again, normal weight, no medical condition. If you're not of normal weight and your health is starting to go a little bit, but you don't have like very specific conditions, then definitely you want to fast. Ideally, you want to do 3 to 4 consecutive cycles of fasting, okay? So you do 5 days, then you do 25 days where you eat normal, then you do 5 days, 25 days. So basically once a month for 4 months is really the ideal if you really want to stack it up and get the maximum benefits, okay? But if you do have very specific medical conditions, or if you're unsure, then definitely please contact a healthcare professional that is versed into fasting so that he can or she can better guide you as to see if you're able to fast or not. Okay. And no, not every GP is able to do that, because not every GP knows how fasting works. And if they're just scared, they're just going to tell you not to do it. Okay. So there you go. So now what? It's a lot of information, I know, and it sounds great, and you can just turn it off and say, oh, well, one day I'll do that. Or I can actually take action. Okay, because that is really, even if you learned about it, if you don't do it, it's not going to benefit you. So if you want to take action, definitely, as I said, you can start easy. Just start by having 2 meals and a snack a day. Already, that'll be a good start for you. If you want to go for the 5 days, then definitely I encourage you. Personally, I will do my fourth the complete 5-day fast in April. It's going to be April 16th. So if you want to join me for that one, it'll be my pleasure. Just contact me through email, Facebook, or through the document I sent you guys. If you have any questions, comments, don't hesitate to reach out to me. It's my pleasure to help people through that. So I hope it inspired you, and I really hope that you'll do something about it. Have a great day.